Black girls gave me the most problems. It wasn't a lot from white girls.
When my mom and dad would go to the store, they would come back to his car and a lady would write on a sheet of paper, "You cracker lover," or something like that. And
I get picked on more by blacks than I did any other race.
I don't just choose one race, I just say I'm mixed.
They kind of like make you feel bad. They make you feel the tension. They don't just put it out there. They're not blunt about it.
I don't want people sitting here just always downing white people. Like, white people aren't the problem.
I walked into my Sunday school class and it said, "No niggers allowed in the church."
Like a dark-skinned girl probably look at a light-skinned girl like, oh, she thinks she cute today because she wore this.
How did that whole perception of you as a mixed person change when you came to America? How did people treat you here? I'm Terrence Flowers, known as the Mechanical Eye. I'm a videographer / photographer, and The Other Race is my first full-length documentary. The production of this film was inspired by race relations in America. A lot of times, people with multiracial ancestry are caught in the middle of race relations. We thought it was important to hear the stories about being multiracial straight from the source, which is the people themselves. We asked them different questions about the multiracial experience, and here are their answers. So I hope you learned something by viewing The Other Race. I certainly did.
I would say I just identify myself as being African American, but at the beginning, when I was younger, I used to erase everything and put mixed, and I used to get in trouble by my teachers. And they would always say, "Why are you putting mixed on there? You're either, black, or you're black, basically." And so I would have to say, back then I would say mixed, but now I understand that I kind of have to just say African American because that's what society breaks it down to.
Black, to be honest, because that's the side that I grew up with. So.
Was you raised in a black neighborhood? Black culture?
Yes, I was. I was born in California, but I grew up in New York. So I was raised on my father's side of the family, and my father is Jamaican and Spanish.
Did you go to black schools?
Yes, I did. I went to PS7, PS132 in Queens, and then when I moved to Georgia, I did go to a predominantly white school in middle school, and then I moved to Atlanta and ended up at predominantly black.
I identify myself with black and white because my parents, well, my mom is mixed, half and half, she's black and white. My grandparents, that's white.
I identify myself as black because my father is black.
Were you raised with your father?
No, I was raised with my mom.
And your mom is white?
Yes.
So why would you identify yourself with black just because your dad's black if you was raised with your mom?
Because my mom told me that I should always identify myself as what my father is.
I grew up around not my Mexican side of my family because my mom moved to Columbus and she met her ex-husband and he was predominantly, his family was black. So with him being in the household and my Mexican side of the family being in El Paso, Texas, I didn't grow up around them. I grew up around a black household.
Basically, I'm multiracial, so I don't just choose one race. I just say I'm mixed, or I would mark 3 things on whatever the choices were, or I just say other.
There's no black people in our community.
Right. I mean, I think that and we're 3 years apart, so the only time we were in school together was elementary school. When he was in middle school, right when he was going out, I was coming in. And I almost think that worked better for me because he kind of was able to pave the way a little bit. But I mean, to count on one hand how many black kids were at our school that we went to, you might say 4, and 3 of those are mixed. So nobody was just full-blooded black that we grew up with. So I mean, you really didn't have a choice but to gravitate toward, for me, it was the white girls. I I wanted to be like more like the white girls. I wasn't ever built like them. I wasn't skinny like them. I didn't have, you know, the Abercrombie and Fitch that they were wearing. I couldn't dress like them. We didn't have the means for that.
Black, of course, because personally I don't know any Asian people because I never had the opportunity to meet that other grandparent who was Asian, and my mother never had the opportunity to meet her father as well, so she knows he's Asian, of course, but she doesn't know anything else about him. I identify myself as being black the most. Why? For the simple fact, like, I don't know, I guess being around my white family so much, I feel like I don't have as much of a touch with my black side of the family. And later on in my adult years, I have been more in touch with them than I have with my white side of the family.
I'm mixed. I'm not going to answer black no way. I'm multiracial.
Multiracial.
Yeah.
Do you hang with one race more than the other?
I mean, growing up on the south side, you ain't got no choice but to hang out with one. So I'm consider myself black. Okay. If you put me in a category.
Do you think sometimes how people carry themselves, who they hang with, kind of helps define who they are? Like how they say birds of a feather flock together. Like if let's say if a cop walked up to you, how you think he would look at you due to your demeanor, who you hang with?
Oh, he gonna look at me like he look at every other individual. Especially if you're black. He gonna look at they're not gonna segregate you from different, or you look just like black or white.
I've had crosses burned at my house. I've had feces put on my car. I've had my tires slit. You name it, it's been done to us. His dad lives in Atlanta, and it was rough on him. It was rough on him, and you know, he's from Montgomery. So when I went to go meet them, I was petrified because I was like, you know, here it is, you're bringing a woman, a non-black woman, to your family in Montgomery to want to let them know that we've already got married and we're expecting our first child. Very difficult, very difficult.
With open arms, but at the same time, when you are open with open arms, when you step inside the front fold, it's more like we pick and choose who we want to be friends with. So being that I got a white mother, from the outside looking in, you wouldn't know that she's part Mexican, but from the outside looking in, she looks white. So being the subject from the black folks is, oh, you got a good mama. But being growing up in the hood on the projects, that's exactly what it is. So growing up black was easy at times.
What about your white side of your family?
Don't know.
My little sister, she asked why we're complete opposites. Because she literally does not understand that. She's 14. And she Googled on the computer, why am I darker than my sister?
She Googled that?
Literally.
Did she see a problem with her being darker than you?
She used to. I don't know if she still do. But
it's okay, baby. It's okay.
Well, my sister and I, we have different skin tones. I also have a brother as well. They both are the same color. They're like a lighter color, I'm the darkest. So what ended up happening was every time when my sister and I would argue, she would say, that's why you're not, you know, mom's child. And I was like, what? And she would say, yeah, you're too dark. Because she looks, you know, more on the white side. So I used to cry and go to my mom and say, Mom, did you ever adopt me? So I actually made her show her my birth certificate and everything. It got that bad.
My mother caught a lot of slack from my father's family, and that used to kill me. It made me not want to be around them. I mean, it's the little things, like they would tell my mom that she couldn't cook, you know, that they didn't want to come to the event to our house. They didn't, when we would come down to visit, you know, they would always put us in the position where me and my younger brothers and my mom would be in like one room, and they'll be off, you know, partying and talking with my father there. The women, it's like, you know how the women and the men will always split up and they all do their own thing. It's like my mom will always end up staying at home with us.
People asking my mom if we were adopted, or, you know, like people, us growing up in either all black neighborhoods or all white neighborhoods, you were known as the little mixed kids, or you were known as, you were not known as black, or you were not known as white, basically. It was just, you would be known as mixed, but when you go outside, it's like, people don't think mixed people can do this, or as far as doing hair, or as far as playing a sport, they don't think you could do it as well as, you know, other black kids or other white kids. Like me and my brother will both have to experience that growing up.
Well, to be honest, I was adopted by my father's sister. So I grew up on my dad's side of the family. I didn't grow up on my mom's side of the family.
So that's your black side?
Yes, that's my black side. That's the side I grew up on. So everyone would always ask, you know, with my adopted mom, they'd be like, is this your daughter? And she would be like, yes, this is my daughter. And, you know, sometimes it would get to a point where she would have to say, yes, I birthed her. No questions asked. You know what I'm saying? Because people would come at us all the time asking, is this your real daughter? Is this your real daughter? When I was in New York and my grandma took me to school to get enrolled after I came from California, a lady actually ran up and asked her if I was her real granddaughter.
So I just started talking to my grandparents, and the things they told me about, you know, their interracial join. They got married in Canada because it wasn't accepted here. It was, you know, illegal. And my grandma was basically emancipated from her family because she fell in love with a black man. And her dad is actually like a founder of John Deere. So the fact that, you know, she endured that just because she was in love, I have deep respect for her. So they went to Canada, they got married. I'm sure whoever married them isn't alive anymore, but they've been together for a long time. They've been through a lot together, and they overcame what seemed to be the wrong thing. So they've been together for 50 years now. They still love strong, still happy. Of course they argue, that's what old people do, but they love each other and they overcame it.
I don't look the half Mexican I am. I couldn't tell you why. I guess it's my dad's genes.
Yeah, strong genes. Yeah.
But
does your mixed side, does your mom's side of her family, her mom and her dad, or her sisters and brothers, do they accept you?
Yeah, they all accept me. Take me with open arms. Me and my brother. I have some hardcore Mexicans in my family. They look straight like Mexicans.
Well, I mainly grew up around my mom, so most of my mom's family is all white, like my aunt and then all my cousins are mixed too.
So it was no problem with the in-laws or Granny accepted you as you were?
Yes, my grandma did. I'm not sure about my great grandma.
Black girls.
And what was the main thing they used to say?
Stop trying to act black. Stop trying to be something I'm not. That I should act more like what I look like. It's just, it was pretty disturbing.
Black girls.
Black girls?
Yes, black girls in particular. They would get upset, like, oh, who's this light-skinned, long-haired girl? And I'm like, I'm cool, I promise. And then once they know me, it's a little bit more, you know, they're comfortable, yes.
More problems in the black neighborhood because they just assume stuff about white people, like, you know, it's like, I guess more, I'm not saying more white people are used to seeing mixed kids, but black people is just like, they automatically assume, oh, your mom must can't cook, or it's random stuff that you assume because my mom she looks white.
As a child growing up, it was more like to get the blacks to accept me. Because I'm from the hood, I'm staying the same spot you is. I'm going through poverty just like you're going through poverty. My folks on food stamps, your folks on food stamps. I'm riding a bus to Buick and so is you, so what makes me different than yours? So therefore you get ridiculed by a lot of people that just look at you from a different perspective because my mother is white. So they automatically assume that I have better things. I got better shoes, which now I bought my first name brand shoes in 9th grade. And I bought them by myself.
I know people used to try to fight me all the time because they thought that they intimidated me because I was mixed.
Who were these people?
I'm not sure the names.
What race?
Oh, they were black.
So black girls?
Mm-hmm.
So black girls wanted to fight you because you was mixed?
Yes, a lot of times.
Did they say you was stuck up or something, or you thought you was better than them, or they just didn't like the way you looked?
I'm not sure. I never had a reason, like a legit reason why. It just always would happen.
Did it ever turn violent?
Yes. plenty of times.
It was just a couple of us mixed kids. It was a couple of them, but we had to deal with white kids calling us names.
So basically, here it was mostly most of the people I've interviewed here. They got a lot of ridicule from blacks. Being a biracial person in Germany, you caught it from whites.
Yeah.
So how was it?
Like,
What's some of the worst
like,
thing that you can remember people actually saying to you or about
calling
you?
You a nigga? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Oh yeah, calling you a nigga. And other words that I can't really translate.
The race I had the most problem with would definitely be the black people. I don't know why. I mean, I went to school just thinking, hey, it's school, this is where I'm coming to learn. But I guess it's something deeper, and people always bring up the whole slave thing, but I feel like that's irrelevant at this point because, you know, your ancestors lived through that, but you can't really say the whole brown paper bag thing and, you know, be mad about it because at the end of the day, we both went through the same thing. So I feel like you can't discriminate against your own race. Well, you shouldn't. And people still do that today.
Black people were more accepting of me and my sister. It just came to the point of where when a disagreement came upon, that would be the only time they would ever call us out.
Nigger, for one. They called me a mutt a lot. I never knew who the mutt was until I got maybe into middle school.
Mutt, wetback. Even though we're not Mexican or anything, I guess that's a Mexican racial slur. Me being German, I'm always a Nazi. Mafia for being Italian.
I've had people call me a mutt. I've literally had people like, whenever, let's say, me and another student got into a disagreement about something and they got into the name calling, they would have skipped straight past nappy-headed, whatever, and go straight to, you're a mutt. You're nothing but a mutt.
I've been called a mud, a bitch, a hoe, because I was light-skinned. I mean, like, there was no reason, not that they can name anybody I've slept with, but I was a hoe.
Protecting my younger sister was my job. Now, my older sister was a thug. We ain't even had to worry about her. She a thug. She was going to do what she wanted to do. But the thing about my older sister was when she came home from like 8th grade, I'll never forget it. She cut all her hair off. My sister had long hair. She cut all her hair because 4 black girls told her she wasn't dark enough. She wasn't black enough. So she cut all her hair off. So that right there just enrages. It's more of a problem.
Personally, I hate the word nigga. I've sat and I've listened and I've heard, like, we're so used to saying, hey yo, my nigga this, my nigga that, my nigga this, free my nigga, help my nigga. Nigga means ignorant black person.
I went to an all-white school when I was real young, like maybe kindergarten through 3rd grade, all white. Like me and my brothers were the only black kids there. And I remember going to ask my mom what a nigger was, because they called me that, and I never knew what it was.
That we're snobby, that a lot of people that I've met have said, I used to think that initially you were a, but really you're so sweet, and people just automatically assume that we think we're better than everyone else.
I think I could take everybody's boyfriend. I like everybody. I sleep with everybody. I talk to everybody. I'm stuck up. I think I'm all that. Like, stupid stuff.
If we soft, automatically being biracial,
and I appreciate you saying that because, like, from a man's point of view, most of our interviews have been with females, but that's the first time. And I figured, me just guessing, I figured that was going to be one of the things that a man would say. So I'm glad you said that. It was, people just assume that, huh?
Automatically, you can get assumed that you're soft because you're light skinned. And I don't know where that concept comes in because you're darker, you be like more harder. And I don't know where that comes from.
Every time, like for instance, my sister has a different dad, but she has different hair than me. So they would always be like, well, you don't need no perm. You ain't gonna get no perm because you got white people hair, of course, which is, you know, fine texture hair. And then, so I would just be like, oh, I mean, I can't help that I had this type of hair.
I gave you that hair.
Of course.
I think that people think that we look better, that we are able to get further because we have kind of a neutral skin color. We don't have to kind of fit into a certain mold. So I think that people are always judging us based off of that, when in all actuality, I feel like it's made me a better liar, I guess, for lack of a better term, because like I said, it helped me to create an image for whenever I'm in front of a certain group of people.
We're either too mean or too goofy. Like, personally, I feel there's no in between. There is no either or. Not that I know of. I have ran across one girl in high school. She did confront me, not like facially, but she did over a message and was like, you know, back in high school, I used to think you were stuck up, this is that and the third, but I've actually had conversations with you and I see that's not who you are, and I do want to apologize to you for thinking that, for even having that thought in my mind. I thought that was pretty cool from her.
Well, in Germany, they don't really have any, not that I know of. You know, you just get called names, but whoever hang out with you, that's who you hang out with. They cool with it. But I think here in the United States, it's usually the fact that you stuck up. You feel like you better than other people.
I've seen stuff coming down on the Mexican race and culture, such as Donald Trump. I remember a few weeks ago he stated something about we shouldn't let people come over the border and whatnot. And I feel like he was stereotyping. He can't speak for every single, even if they're a legal immigrant that comes over and do bad things. I feel like everyone deserves a fair shot. I don't think him would give everyone a fair shot.
I wanted my hair to be like bone straight, and I used to watch like music videos of the girls with the long straight hair, so I thought that if I got a perm, my hair would be like that. So my mom was like, no, I'm not giving you a perm because your hair is beautiful. We just have to find someone that knows how to do your type of hair. So long story short, I kept begging her, so finally she went and got me a perm. And the perm actually damaged my hair even more. And it didn't lay as flat as I thought it was gonna lay. I thought I could just wash it, blow dry it, and it'd be straight. I still had to blow dry it, and I still had to straighten it. So I was like, there was no point in me even getting the perm.
Change the way I talk, the way I walk. Yeah, I changed the way I talk, the way I walk.
Yourself talking more slang?
Yes, more slang.
Give me some Southside slang. Give me some Southside Columbus slang words.
I don't know. Most of the words around here in Columbus are kind of irritate me more than anything else. They've like the word flea.
I wanted to be white and blonde and have blue eyes like some of my friends.
You really want to be like that? In retrospect, now, how do you feel about feeling that way?
Now,
just looking back, of course you can't change, but looking back, how do you?
I mean, I think if I would've, I don't know, maybe if I would've been taught a little bit more about self-worth and not caring about what other people say, I would've like handled it differently. But now I'm kind of, you know.
How far did you ever go to fit in?
Oh Lord.
Did you dye your hair? Did you dress white?
Yes, I done put relaxer in my hair before, and I don't even have the type of hair to put relaxer in. Like, it broke off. I had dyed blonde.
That was just to try to fit in. You had dyed blonde.
Well, yeah, I wanted to have straight hair. My hair was a lot curlier back then.
One thing that really helped me push down the negative stereotypes was just falling into sports. And I played basketball every day, and I practiced from 6th grade till 12th grade, basically an hour a day, and I was exceptional. And aside from that, I was very quick, so playing football and track and whatnot. And that helped break the ice with a lot of people who otherwise would have had some negative words for me. They wanted me on their team.
Sports does.
Sports. And basketball is a team type sport, and being the only, I'm not too dark myself, but being the, I was the point guard and whatnot, so I was able to kind of direct the team. But I do know what my sister is saying. There were friends who I had whose parents, they wouldn't let me go in their house, and they wouldn't definitely not let me go if they weren't there. At times they would open the door once the parents were home, feeling that maybe we brought some type of negative energy or something that's going to cause their kids get caught up in negative things, you know what I'm saying?
My oldest daughter, very light complected, had my grade of hair, but it's real curly. When we moved off post into the civilian sector, she had a really hard time. She came home one day and her hair, she cut off all her hair. And I was asking her, I said, why'd you do that? And she says, well, Mama, she says, the black girls say I'm not black enough. The other girls say I don't fit in, so I'm trying to fit in. So a lot of times what people don't realize is biracial children have a really hard time finding their own self, finding their own identity, because you've got some that do not accept them as being black. Now, when my son walks out the front door, he's a black man.
If I was around white people, I had to be white. If I was around black people, I had to be black. Or whoever it was at the time, I felt like it made me a better liar because I had to act however the people around me were acting in order for me to be socially accepted.
I think, to be honest, it was my skin and my hair, because in New York we wore uniforms. So it wasn't the way I dressed, because I dressed just like everyone else, and I think, to be honest, it was my hair, because a lot of times, like, your hair isn't real, I bet you get perms, and I bet that's weave right now, and sometimes, like, it would break me down to a point where I would be like, you can touch my hair if you want to. Like, I would let girls stick their hands in my hair just to prove that it was mine.
Oh man, come on man, the haircuts, the clothes, the talk game, the swag, come on man. I'm trying to fit in with everybody else, I'm gonna do exactly what everybody else doing. You got parts, I want parts. You got curl, I want a curl. You got your pants sagging, I want pants sagging. We'll turn them to the back, I'm gonna turn mine to the back.
Did I ever find myself doing things to be accepted? I would try to talk a little differently, and I would ask my dad. My dad lives in Atlanta, so I would try to get the newest shoes to fit in. And I remember I went to E.W. Oliver, and there were these new Nike shoes that came out, and they had like the stitching of the color of our school. So I got those shoes. I was like, Dad, these shoes are real cool, so can I just get them, please? And so he bought them for me. And I was the talk of the town, oh, those are cool shoes. They're our school colors, everything. But at the end of the day, you're not going to fit in just because your shoes, if you're light skinned or because your hair is like this. So I tried to do little things like that, dress a little differently, talk a little differently, but it never really helped.
I think that when it came to my weight, yes. I mean, I never went to the extreme of like wanting to change my hair color or anything like that, but definitely, they're skinny, for the most part. They're shapely nowadays, but when I went to school with them, it was just, I'm too big. I'm too big for that. I also developed a lot earlier than everybody else, and some of the girls' moms didn't want them hanging out with me. They felt like that I was promiscuous or I was gonna make their kids do something wrong.
When I was in elementary school, I used to have like really curly long hair. And then I would look around and see all my friends, they have perms and stuff like that. So I would get a perm just so I could fit in and have straight hair, because I hated having curly hair.
What are some things you would think that are advantage to you with you being biracial?
I speak two languages.
Fluent?
Well, my English still got its little perks here and there.
You speak pretty good English.
Yeah, for the most part, because I know people that have been here for a long time and their English is worse than mine. But I do have my difficulties with certain words, so when I try to read out loud, I have to ask people. But I asked and I learned, and that's how I
say something in German for the camera.
Like what?
Just say how you doing? It's a nice day, something like that. Something real simple.
Hallo, wie geht's?
Well, I get to celebrate Christmas twice.
Christmas.
Yes. My grandma She actually did the tradition when she moved to the United States. She wanted to celebrate Christmas on the 24th because it's the 25th in Germany.
25th here too, right?
Yeah, but it takes a little, I think Germany time, they're ahead.
Yeah,
they're like 6 or 8 hours ahead or something like that. So she wanted to celebrate it here on the 24th. But she also did it because she knew that the mixed kids had Christmas with their other family. So we celebrate Christmas with my grandmother's side on the 24th and then Christmas with the other side of the family on the 25th.
I mean, the only kind of advantage of being biracial is you learn more culture about different cultures, whether it's black, Hispanic, Caucasian, any of that nature. Another advantage is either skin type or hair color. You feel how it might turn out. I got good hair. I don't get sunburn like most white kids will, but I don't get razor bumps like most black people do.
I don't know any Asian people or know any foreign people, so I don't know any other languages, and I don't eat no other food.
Asian food?
No. I mean, hibachi or...
To be honest, not speaking about anyone else except for myself, what I think is easier for me is I like the fact that I can wear my hair curly and I can wear it straight. I like the fact that my hair doesn't take forever to grow, but you know, it does grow pretty quickly.
I would say fitting in to both, because white girls, you know, they love you just because, I would say because of my personality, not because I'm light skinned or anything like that. And my best friend is dark skinned, and we make jokes about us being the complete opposite and how we together would make the perfect girl. So she's light skinned, I'm dark skinned, she has a big butt, and you know, all this stuff. So we just make jokes about it, and that's when I was saying, you know, in high school, I found my place because people were more accepting of me.
Having two different cultures in your life, having a mom who loves to cook Mexican food, you can try new foods. It's still foods to this day she cooks new that I've never had before. A new ear for music, just a lot of stuff. Also with the black side, the cooking is soulful.
You like food, don't you?
The food, the music. I love hip hop music more than I love Latino music.
I would just tell them, you know, love the skin that you're in. There's nothing wrong with being biracial, and that, you know, if anybody has a problem with the skin that you're in, then you don't retaliate to it or act in a certain way. Just be yourself.
You know, it would be nice, to be honest, if people would just automatically accept you for who you are and then get to know whether you are snobby or not. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just automatically assuming that because I'm mixed, I'm snobby, because I'm not.
Not to judge someone by how they look, because you never know what they've been through and how they really feel inside.
It's a beautiful culture. Period. It's a beautiful culture. Whatever ethnicity you might have in you is beautiful. Whether it might be black and white, maybe Asian and Mexican, might be Jamaican and white, whatever the case may be, however you mix, it's a beautiful thing. Just know where you're coming from. Don't just learn one aspect. If you mix, don't just stick to being black. Don't just stick to being white. Know all of it.
Be whoever you want to be, that's how I am. It's just like now I realize, like, don't care what anybody else thinks, because other people's opinions don't really matter. So they're entitled to their own opinion, but you shouldn't let anything affect you or bother you, because then it really will affect you later on in life.
You don't have to identify with one side over the other. You can just be you, and whether that's you taking on more attributes that people assume are white or more attributes people assume are black, because there's always, you know, this is what white people do, this is what black people do all the time. Just be yourself and be great to everybody. You don't have to identify with one thing.
For the biracial people out there, I would just tell you, have confidence in yourself. Don't ever let anybody tear you down or tear down your confidence. Embrace your individuality and, you know, the difference in you, because you're beautiful just like everybody else.
Man, we're all on this earth together, man. And regardless where we're born, regardless what our upbringing may be, we share so many things in common. We can't let the pettiness of a different complexion or a different shade separate the true essence that enables each and every one of us to wake up. We got to embrace the things that connect us instead of the things that divide us. So if there's one thing that I would like to tell everybody is just look deeper and look past the blinders that we may have been wearing, the veil that we've been moving around this world in, and see the connection we share with one another.
Make sure that they know that you come from great stock. You know, if you're, know your family history, not know just the generalized Black history, but know that your grandmama did this or your great grandma did this and they did great things. To know where you come from.
Just be yourself. You're gonna have people talking about you to the day you die. Like, they'll directly target one race more than they would the other. But it's not really about race.
It has its advantages, it has its disadvantages, but you're lucky, I tell you that, because you got the best of both worlds.